Welcome to the Olympic Aquatic Stadium in Rio De Janeiro. This is the preliminary session on day 2 of the swimming competition at the 2016 Paralympic Games. Indeed, it was an enthralling day 1 that produced 13 world records on the day. 8 of those in the finals, and 16 gold medal events were contested. And the People's Republic of China took 4 gold medals, Korea and Great Britain 2 each, and 1 each for, indeed, very strong swimming nations with great swimming traditions, including Australia, Brazil, South Africa, Netherlands, Ukraine, USA, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. This is what's on the cards for the morning session, the heat session. 14 events, including the men's and women's 50 freestyle events, the men's and women's 50 and 100 butterfly events, but in S6 and S8 classifications respectively. Also the men's and women's 400-meter freestyle S9 heats to be contested. Well, there should be some excitement with the mixed 4x50-meter freestyle relay, where the 4 swimmers cannot make up more than 20 points. That is something you do not want to miss. The aquatic stadium will fill up slowly as the Brazilian competitors will tend to draw the crowds in as they edge towards their time in the pool. Andre Brazil should be in the pool in a little while, one of the home favourites. It was a good opening day for the host nation, having claimed a bronze and a gold with Pereira and Dias. The competition format: 8 fastest swimmers into the finals. You need to post the time in the preliminary sessions to advance to the finals, and then from there, the fastest time swimming in lane 4. The slowest time of the 8 who advance to the final swimming in lane 8. We've had some very solid competition over the last 4 days, 2 sessions and 1 day of competition, but we have 10 days in total at the Paralympic pool. Representing Great Britain, of course, there are numerous Paralympic athletes who are expecting to retain titles they won in London 4 years ago. There will be several in the pool once again in upcoming races. Jonathan Fox will be back in the pool again today on day 2 of competition. The likes of Sasha Kindred, one of the greats of Great British swimming, will also be in the pool. The German contingent here in support, just enjoying all the sports. Only a handful of German swimmers. Well, there's support for so many of the swimmers in the pool, from various nations, from Austria to Denmark to China to the United States to Ukraine to Australia to Mexico to Greece. But this is the men's 100-meter backstroke S2, the first of 2 heats. Five swimmers going in heat 1. Irina Makro-Dimitris, Ju, Czech and Pani Bretets of Ukraine. Dmitry Kokarev, the world record holder, set earlier this year, not competing however. So the athletes making their way out for what is event 18 of the swimming competition. Event 17, incidentally, is the men's 100-meter backstroke for S1, but there are fewer than 8 competitors, so the event will be swum only as a final rather than having heats. There is the favourite in the opening heat, Zhou Liankang. Makro Dimitris of Greece, with a seeding time of 2:11.23, will go in lane 3. Romanian swimmer going in 1, Octavian Ilina. So into the morning heats, there is 14 events in total. Into the pool, the swimmers go for the very first of 2 heats. Men's 100-meter backstroke, S2. From Czech Republic. We'll have athletes competing throughout the day. One of the older swimmers in the field, Octavian Ilina. Zhou Liankang, only 21 years old. A relative newcomer to the international scene. At his first international competition. The men's 100-meter backstroke S2 underway. Already getting straight into his backstroke, going in lane 4. Zhou Liankang, 21-year-old, is already heading out into a little bit of a lead, just ahead of Poland's Jacek Czech. He's got the shoulder rotation using the alternate arms. Both Jacek Czech and Yevgen Panibratets of Ukraine going simultaneously with the arms in the backstroke in lanes 5 and 6. But Zhou Liankang is going very nicely. Good shoulder rotation in the opening 50.
Zhou Liankang opened up that lead pretty early on in the race, maintaining it now as he comes up towards the turn. He's got a qualifying time 5 seconds quicker than his nearest rival in this heat, that is Jacek Czech in the lane next to him, but actually turning in second, it's Panibratets of Ukraine, just ahead of his closest rival in third. It's Czech of Poland, but now really making the most of his advantage. It is Zhou Liankang opening up a very comfortable lead. Well,
Panibratets had a solid turn. Czech lost a great deal in the turn, mid-stroke as he went into the wall and struggled to quite get around. But this is looking very good for Zhou Liankang. He's well ahead of world record pace, and he's looking well set to go sub 2 minutes here, which will be a quite astonishing world record. And will he get under the 2-minute mark? It looks almost certain that he's going to break the world record. Just what time is he going to post? He's only increasing his speed. Well, first event on the morning on day 2, and it is going to be a world record. Zhou Liankang, a 1:58.29, the first S2 swimmer ever to go under 2 minutes in the 100 backstroke. And what a way to start. A wonderful swim as well after a good turn from Panibratets of Ukraine. Touches good enough for second in this heat. He should qualify for the final comfortably with that time. And then Makro Dimitris of Greece coming in. Jacek Czech now perhaps past his best at 40. Makes his way to the wall in 2:24, well outside his qualifying time and well outside his personal best. Octavian Ilina, 39-year-old Romanian swimmer. Final few strokes. But a world record to start. for So Liang Kang. Much appreciated by the audience gathered in the Olympic Aquatic Stadium. Punibetits, having claimed second place in the heat overall, might be fancying himself for a medal later. 2:10.47. There are quicker qualifying times in the second heat, but So Liang Kang his reaction, just delight. Beaming with pride at his achievement, the first swimmer ever under 2 minutes in the S2 classification over 100 back. World record 1:58.29, and the newcomer to the international scene has put his hand up for the gold medal to be contested in session 4. This is heat 2 of the men's 100 backstroke S2. Yang among the favorites. Shalabi of Israel, Liu and Yang of People's Republic of China, Palamarchuk and Bondarenko of Ukraine, and Kapilakis of Greece. Now Yang, he's quick. He's the defending Paralympic champion. Goes in lane 4. The second heat of the men's 100 backstroke S2 gets underway with Yang having just seen his compatriot smash a world record and become the first swimmer to go under 2 minutes. So the marker has been laid down. How will Yang respond? He's only 19 years old, but he wowed the audiences in London 4 years ago with his 4 gold medals in 4 events in the S2 classification. A multiple world champion as well is Yang, but what response does he have? At the moment it is Palamarchuk, though, of Ukraine, who is building a significant lead, and indeed 20-year-old Liu Binying of China alongside Yang, who looks to be doing very nicely in lane 3.
Well, it is Liu who's coming into the turn in the lead, the compatriot for Yang, and turning first. It is Liu Binying for People's Republic of China, and then in second is Palamarchuk. And Yang has got some work to do as he comes out of the turn in third. At the moment, the race is either side of the favourite in lane 4. It's still going well. Palamarchuk and Liu currently batting ahead. It looks as though Palamarchuk has just got the slight advantage now as they come into the final 25 metres, and Yang has a lot of work to do if he's going to be back in this race.
Well, it looks like Yang is being swum out of it here, but I can tell you that we're well ahead of world record pace, and by a significant margin here. Once again, it looks like we're going to see another world record broken in the second heat. Having just seen Zhou become the first swimmer to go under 2 minutes, we're going to have Palamarchuk and Liu both dip below the 2 minute mark as well. Yang completely out of it, but look at this for a finish. They're going side by side. Liu is looking across at Palamarchuk. It is Liu who's going to take it on the line in world record time, a 1:50.67. Well, Palamarchuk becomes only one of 3 swimmers to go under the 2 minute mark. A 2:02.34 for Yang, the defending champion, going better than the time he swam to claim the gold in London. We swam a 2:03. But the world records continue to go. 13 world records on day one. On day two, we've already seen 2 world records go in just 2 heats. Liu Penying, 20-year-old from People's Republic of China, with the world record, is Kapilakis of Greece, makes his way to the wall. Liu Penying, a new world record, 150.67. Palamarchuk of Ukraine with a very solid time indeed, a 151.23. It'll be a European record. He dipped below the world record time, 158.29, having been set in the first heat. Liu and Palamarchuk both good on the turn. Yang showing his quality at the wall, but just not enough in the pool. Look at the way Liu just glancing across towards his opponent. Again, just caught between strokes, perhaps, Palamarchuk, but it was a tight finish. And a new world record for Liu Penying in the men's 100 backstroke S2. So advancing to the final, we have 3 swimmers from People's Republic of China, including the defending champion Yang. Zhou and Liu, though, looking good. Palamarchuk looking very good for a medal for Ukraine.
The men's 50 Freestyle S7, heat 1 of the 2 heats. Dimarceno Chevo from Aruba, Brazil, for the home crowd to get excited about. Colombian Serrano Zarat goes in lane 3. The fastest seed for Australia, Matthew Levy. For Germany, Pollup in 5. Jones of Great Britain in lane 6. And Soyash Narayan for India goes in lane 7. Well, this really is the blue ribbon event in the pool, the 50 freestyle. Just 2 heats, the fastest 8 to qualify into the final. The crowd now getting excited for Pereira, the Brazilian athlete, bronze medal at the Pan American Games last year.
Take your marks. Relax, please.
Now the starter just asking the athletes to relax as the swimmers have the chance to just compose themselves. The Great Britain cap of Jones. Studies at Loughborough University in England.
Take your marks.
The men's 50 Freestyle S7, the first heat, they are underway and it is off to a storming start. Incredibly close after that dive, and in the first 25 metres, it's really hard to call, but it looks as though the favourite in lane 4, Matthew Levy, the Australian, finished 4th in the London Paralympics 4 years ago, and he's setting off his campaign as he means to go on here. It is Matthew Levy just ahead of Serrano Zarate on his left-hand side, and it is Matthew Levy of Australia who wins it. Serrano Zarate takes second, and Pollup for Germany touches in third. A time of 28.55, just outside his best for the Australian. Carlos Serrano-Zerat, Colombia in second, and Tobias Poller, a German athlete, making it into the top 3 in this first heat of the men's 50 freestyle S7. And Matthew Levy led from the start, touching just ahead Serrano-Zerat. And now the times confirmed, 28.55 for Levy. Michael James of Great Britain in 4th. Sayesh Narayan for India, finishing in 5th. Men's 50 freestyle S7, heat 2. 2 heats in this fast and furious race. We have Diaz of Honduras, Lavalier representing Canada, Jonathan Fox, silver medal yesterday in the 100 back, goes for Great Britain in lane 3. Bogodaiko, Ukraine in 4, Pan in 5, Wang, People's Republic of China as well in 6, and Sharman in lane 7. World record not broken for 8 years. David Roberts of Great Britain still holds the 50 freestyle S7 world record.
Take your marks.
And they're off first time. The men's 50 freestyle S7 event, and what an incredible underwater phase that is for Pan Xion of People's Republic of China. An incredible start, and now the rest of the field start to try and chase him down, but we're already into the final 15 meters, and it's still in lane 6, Wang Jingyang of China, who's got the lead. He's maintained it with that incredibly fast stroke rate, and it's going to be Wang Jingyang, 28.89. People's Republic of China first. Jonathan Fox touching in 3rd. Bogodaiko, the fastest seed, finishing in 2nd for Ukraine. Wang Jingyang, the winner of Heat 2, led from the start. That was an incredible underwater phase that just set him in the right position. The rest of the field had to do the chasing, and they couldn't quite get there in that short 50-meter sprint.
Just a great stroke rate, wonderful control in the pool from the Chinese swimmer, and Wang beating the likes of Bogodaiko, already a gold medalist, to the wall.
Well, the top 3, Wang, Bogodaiko and Fox. And the athletes will have to wait and see if their times are quick enough to make it into the top 8 to compete again in the men's 50 freestyle S7 final. Well, there's the confirmation of those athletes into the final. Levy of Australia, winner of Heat 1, the fastest seed. Michael James of Great Britain, just making it into the top 8. Women's 50 freestyle S7, Heat 1. Rolo Marshall of Spain, Rootliff, Canada, Jordan, USA, Rogers, Great Britain, and Key of China will go in Heat number 1. Key in lane 6, gold medalists from the 100-meter backstroke already at this Rio 2016 Paralympic Games.
Take your mark.
Now the favourite in this event, in this race, Jordan Corney, USA, goes in the centre lane, but it's a very strong start by Susanna Rogers of Great Britain, the red cap in lane 5, who just leads the gold medalist from 08, silver medalist from London. Jordan from USA. And now here comes Courtney Jordan, the USA, starting to take the lead with 15 meters to go. That great start by Rogers, just backing off slightly. Rootcliffe of Canada also going very strong on the left-hand side of Jordan. It looks as though Jordan's going to get it, and it is. Courtney Jordan, the USA, touches first. Rogers second for Great Britain. And Rootcliffe of Canada touching in third. Time of 34.07 for Courtney Jordan. She looks happy enough with that 7th yesterday in the 100-meter backstroke, but this is her event. Already a gold and a silver medal from the last 2 Paralympic Games. Susanna Rogers second, Tess Rootcliffe third, Key Leating, yes, the Paralympic champion in the 100-meter backstroke for China in 4th. Lola Martial, Spain, finishing in 5th. The women's 50 Freestyle S7, heat number 2. Levi of Israel, Huang, China, Huan, USA, Graal, Germany, Mahain, Canada, and Tilk from Estonia. We'll go in heat 2. Start so important in this 50 freestyle event.
Take your mark.
And it was a strong start there for Sarah Mahain of Canada. Very quick off the blocks indeed. And she's got to lead. The rest of the athletes now need to catch in just 25 meters left of this race. And already coming back strong in the centre lane, Denise Graal of Germany. And on her left-hand side, going very well, Mackenzie Cohen. It's Mackenzie Cohen of USA, who is now storming ahead in this women's 50 freestyle S7. A very strong second half of the race indeed. And a new Paralympic record for Mackenzie Cohen of USA. Denise Graal of Germany touching second. Delight for the American athlete, just 20 years of age. She's a little nod as she looks at the time, 32.57. Just 0.06 of a second inside the previous Paralympic record that was set by Jacqueline Freni in Australia 4 years ago.
Oh, it was a great race from Cohen, currently ranked number 1 in the world, closely followed, of course, by Courtney Jordan, who swam in heat 1. But with London Paralympic champion Jacqueline Freni of Australia not competing, a real opportunity here for Cohen to go on and round out the gold in this event.
Well, there's that new Paralympic record. A great performance for Mackenzie Cohen. Huang Yangjing third, People's Republic of China in that second heat. And the women's 50 freestyle S7, the top 8 through to the final. Cohen, Graal, Jordan, Rogers for Great Britain, Yajing, Rootcliffe also into the final.
This is the men's 50-meter fly S6, first heat of 2. Going in lane 5 is Kindred, 6-time Paralympic champion, the 38-year-old. A very good start here for Kindred, going in 5. Clement in lane 6 looking good, but so too Nelson Crispin Corso of Colombia. It's a little bit of a surprise from Simonenko, who started very, very strongly indeed. Is just battling to hold on though after a wonderful underwater, but pulling into a significant lead here. Crispin Corso of Colombia is going to take the victory in the first heat of 2 in the men's 50 fly. It's a great stroke rate, gets to the wall in Paralympic record time, 31.27, the Colombian. Well, Taliesin Glock of Brazil does enough to touch in third. Sasha Kindred, multiple Paralympic champion, a 32.76, good enough to touch second, but what a swim from Nelson Crispin Corto. Good benchmark to lay down in the sessions, the preliminary sessions. Well, he got the underwater right while he was caught mid-stroke at the wall. He was well ahead of anybody else in the race, and still Paralympic record time for so Colombian swimmer. This is the second heat of 2 in the men's 50 fly S6. And there are some very quick swimmers that go in this heat, most notably the bronze, silver and gold medalists from London 4 years ago, Oyama, Zheng and Zhu, who go in lanes 3, 4 and 5. Men's 50-meter fly S6. That's the man in lane 5, the defending champion, Xu Qing of China. Very good start for Christakis of Greece, but it is Xu Qing who uses as much of the underwater as he possibly can, and Xu Qing alongside Cheng Tao, who already claimed gold in the 100 back on day 1 of competition. Cheng Tao is going through the water, but alongside him is Wang Liqiao of China, is just pushing into a little advantage now. And it looks like Jing is going to be beaten to the wall by Wang Liqiao. Xu only touches good enough for third. While Oyama of Japan, bronze medalist 4 years ago, only quick enough to touch fourth. Martinez Valdez of Mexico touches fifth, but Wang Liqiao, People's Republic of China, very quick through the water in a seeding time of 33 seconds. He's just gone 30.89.
Well, that was domination in Heat 2 by the People's Republic of China. So important, that start. But a very strong finish it was by Wang Liqiao. Just pipping the Zheng Tao at the finish there.
So 1, 2, 3 for China, Wang, Zheng and Zhu. The gold medalist of 4 years ago, only finishing third overall, 31.74, but a good solid victory for Wang. Well, 8 swimmers that advance, among them 6-time Paralympic champion Sasha Kindred, qualifying for Great Britain. Taliesin Glock will represent the host nation in the final, but the top 3 swimmers for People's Republic of China certainly to watch. Now, the women's 50-meter butterfly S6 classification. We'll see Ellie Robinson's first chance in the pool. The 15-year-old from Northampton in Great Britain. Robinson sub 36 seconds this year. World record at 35.48. As the women's 50-meter butterfly S6 gets underway, and it's a good start for Ellie Robinson of Great Britain, and Nicole Turner alongside her, going in lane 5, while Oslim Kaya of Turkey goes in lane 6. There's the 3 swimmers pulling away, but it is Robinson who is leading currently. Good. Great height, just chasing that world record. It's not going to be within reach at the moment, but She is posting a very fast time here, is the 15-year-old Ellie Robinson. Only really began competing around about the time of the Paralympic Games in London, and she touches in 36.62, so around about her fastest time of the year. Turner touches good enough for second, while Kaya holds on for that third place. Sofia Herzog and Olena Fedota of USA and Ukraine touching fourth and fifth, but Ellie Robinson good in the pool on her first attempt in the pool.
Well, she took that race on from the start, found her rhythm. Ellie Robinson of Great Britain had a clean start. And in the sprint butterfly, it's so important to maintain your rhythm, even though it is such a short, fast race. And a perfect finish, meeting a wall on the correct stroke there for Ellie Robinson.
So results see Ellie Robinson ahead of Nicole Turner, Özlem Kaya of Turkey touching quick enough for third overall. This is the second heat of two in the women's 50-meter fly. It includes world record holder and gold medalist of 4 years ago, Oksana Krul of Ukraine. Hubner, Thomas Kane, Krul, Lu, and Trin of Vietnam. Oksana Krul, the world record holder, the European champion, the defending Paralympic champion. She took bronze in the 100 backstroke. We're looking for a successful defense of her title. Wants to start with a good performance in the morning heats. What sort of time will she be posting? She'll be looking around that 36-second mark, no doubt. Lu Dong going in 5, already took silver in the 100 back.
Take your mark.
Quick start, good reaction time from Tiffany Thomas-Kane of Australia, but at the moment it is Lu Dong who moves her underwater well, but getting into her stroke. Oksana Krul, bronze medalist of the 100 back, is looking to post the sort of time that saw her claim the gold medal in London 4 years ago. It's a strong back end as well from Tiffany Thomas-Kane of Australia. She's now up to second, just off the shoulder of Oksana Krul. It'll be Ukraine, Australia, China to finish 1, 2, 3. To the wall goes Krul ahead of Tiffany Thomas-Kane. Lu Dong finishes third fastest. Vietnam's Trin and Tanya Hubner of Australia, fourth and fifth respectively in the second heat. But Oksana Krul, the world record holder, well outside her personal best, but doing enough to guarantee her place in the final. That's all she'll be looking for in the preliminaries.
I think Oksana Krul, Ukraine, winner of Heat 2, knew what she had to do in this 50 butterfly sprint. The expression just taking in the time, a little bit off her personal best, but she'll be comfortably through to that final.
So results see Oksana Krul, the world record holder, comfortably through to the last 8. Tiffany Thomas-Kane touching ahead of Lu Dong of China. Vietnam's Trin, fourth quickest. But Trin has done enough to sneak into the final. And she'll race against the likes of Ellie Robinson and Oksana Krul. Tiffany Thomas-Kane with a good chance of a medal.
Men's 50 Freestyle S10. Heat 1, 3 heats for this event. The silver medalist from the London Paralympic Games, Nathan Stein of Canada. Seeded fastest in heat 1, goes in lane number 4. A good start right across the field there, nothing separating these swimmers off the blocks. And it's the middle 2 lanes, Stein and Dubrov, who start to battle it out in the centre of the pool. The silver medalist from London really being pressured now by Denis Dubrov, who has got the advantage, just 5 meters to go. The Ukrainian absolutely storming to take heat 1. Denis Dubrov ahead of Stein of Canada. And Canada make it 2 and 3 with Alec Elliott. Denis Dubrov, the silver medalist from the 100-meter breaststroke, already here at these Paralympic Games, shows his intention. The silver medalist from London just glancing at the clock a little bit outside of his personal best. So Dubrov first, Stein and Elliott of Canada second and third. The margin so fine in this men's 50 freestyle S10 heat 2. Just 0.04 of a second between third and fourth in that previous heat. Really is no room for error. Start list for heat 2. Anderson, Denmark. Lynn, China. Rodriguez for Brazil. Crothers, Australia. Buckley, Canada. And Lumipool, Estonia in lane 7. Six swimmers in heat 2 of the 3 heats. This men's 50 freestyle S10. Rodriguez of Brazil, the silver medalist from the 2008 Paralympic Games, finished 1 place off the medals in London, but then went a couple of places better at the World Championships last year, where he won the silver medal. And next to him it's Rowan Crothers, the Australian. Saw how close it was at the start in heat number 1. This, heat 2, the men's 50 freestyle S10. A great start there in lane 4 by Philippe Rodriguez. The crowd going wild in the Olympic Aquatic Stadium, and it's already into a very fast stroke rate. And a lead at 25 meters for Philippe Rodriguez. 4th at the last Paralympic Games in London. And now he looks as though he's gliding to the finish. He's got this race under control. And that was very classy indeed by Rodriguez to win it. Crothers in second for Australia. And Lin Furong, People's Republic of China, touching in third. 24.07. And he's got more in the tank. Philippe Rodriguez eased off at the end of that race. He certainly had it under control.
Well, he got off the starting blocks very quickly, but again, great streamline. Although he didn't take quite as long as some of the others underwater, once he got into his stroke, found his rhythm so quickly, and then, as you say, the last 10-15 meters just glided to the line. He knew he had the race under control. The thumbs up, he saved some energy for the final.
And more to come, I'm sure, from the winner of Heat 2, Philippe Rodriguez. Crothers, Australia, touched in second. Lin Furong, People's Republic of China, third. Men's 50 Freestyle S10, heat number 3. The time to beat, 24:06, posted so far. Here we have Anderson, Australia, Levesque, Spain, Brasil, representing Brazil in the fastest seed, Krypiak, Ukraine, Izadia, and then Menciotti, Riccardo of Italy. While here, the current world record holder, Paralympic record holder from 4 years ago, the favourite in this men's freestyle event, Andre Brasil. The Brazilian crowd out in force to support their Brazilian heroes. Brasil, the gold in 08 and in 2012. Can he add another title to that collection? It's the men's 50 Freestyle S10, heat number 3. The crowd erupt. One of the last to break the water, Andre Brasil in lane 4. He's got Krypiak on his right-hand side from Ukraine, and these two swimmers in the centre of the pool, Brasil and Krypiak, battling it out. And it's Krypiak who is giving Brasil a really tough race. Maxime Krypiak, Ukraine, not far off the world record, touches first. Andre Brasil in second, Levesque, Spain in third. Maxime Krypiak, 23:45. He looked to be threatening Andre Brasil's world record with just 5 meters to go, not finishing as strongly. Andre Brasil, a little shake of the head. I'm sure he's got more to come in the final.
Well, no European swimmer has ever gone faster than Krypiak's 23:45, but Andre Brasil, 23:20 already this year. He's capable of going so much quicker, so perhaps leaving a little. And he will qualify, I think, third quickest for this final.
Of the Maxime Krypiak, ahead of the world record holder Brasil in heat 3. And there's the standings for the final. It's Ukraine 1-2 ahead of Rodriguez of Brazil, ranked third, Stein of Canada 4th, Andre Brasil down in 5th. Women's 50 Freestyle S10 heat 1. Three heats in this 50 freestyle event. Fastest 2 seeds, Scheideveld, Molenkamp, both of Netherlands, go in lanes 4 and 5. McCaw, Zhang, Hernandez Santos of Spain in 3, on either side of the Dutch pair. Adkowskaya, Belarus, and Leonhardt of Australia in lane 7. Scheideveld, the fastest seed in this heat. Seemed a little disappointed with her bronze in the 100 breaststroke. Finished 5th in this event, last year's World Championships. Molenkamp on her right-hand side, 11th. Well, that's a strong start for Scheideveld. Very quick off the blocks, but this race very close as they come to the first 25 meters. A slight advantage now for lane 5, Molenkamp, Netherlands, and it's the Dutch pair who start to creep away from the rest of the field. Also going well, Zhang, People's Republic of China, out in lane 2 as they come to the final 5 meters. It's between Zuideveld and Molenkamp. Who's going to get it at the touch? And it's Molenkamp at the touch, ahead of compatriot Zuideveld of Netherlands. And third, Zhang Meng, People's Republic of China. 28.99, close to personal best for Chantal Molenkamp. Molenkamp and Zuideveld just separated by 0.07 of a second. Molenkamp looked to lead for much of the race, but a strong finish by Zuideveld. Just 0.07 off on that touch. It was stroke for stroke. And Zhang Meng, China, touching for that third position, 29.29. The only 3 swimmers to break the 30-second barrier. Women's 50 Freestyle S10, heat number 2. Well, Sophie Pascoe of New Zealand goes in lane 4. 10 Paralympic medals to her name. Fastest seed in this women's 50 freestyle. Bronze in this event, the World Championships last year, gold the year before that. A world record held by Bayova of Russia. Not competing in this event this year. Second fastest seed, Elodie Laurandi, prefers the longer distance. Did win a bronze in this event, London 2012. The women's 50 freestyle S10, heat number 2. That was a long pause by the starter, and it's a good start in lane 4 for Sophie Pascoe, representing New Zealand. Look at this, halfway, and she's already got half a body length lead. Sophie Pascoe, silver in this event 4 years ago, is putting her mark on this race in the heats. It's going to be very close for second and third. But Sophie Pascoe, a new Paralympic record, touches first, ahead of Elodie Laurandi of France in second, and Watts of Sweden touching in third. 27.95. A new Paralympic record for Pascoe. The Australian looking happy with her result. And over 50 metres, that is some dominance by Pascoe. So close between second, third, at the finish, and fourth as well. But the leader, significant distance ahead. Sophie Pascoe, that Paralympic record. Elodie Laurandi, second. Ina Watts, Sweden, third. 29.02. Fourth place for Brazil's Mariana Ribeiro. Women's 50 freestyle S10, heat number 3. Karina Zapata, Usturis, Vivand, Chen, Jablonska and Murphy make up heat number 3. The favourite, Aurélie Rivard for Canada. Gold in this event at last year's World Championships. 9 World Championship medals in 2015 for the Canadian. And it's a very quick start by the Canadian in lane 4. Rivard, quick off the blocks. And on her right-hand side, Chen Yi, People's Republic of China. These two stroke for stroke ahead of the rest of the field. It looks as though it's going to be pretty close for the winner of heat number 3. Really pushing each other on, these two athletes. Rivard and Chen, stroke for stroke, but it's Rivard. But a new Paralympic record for the Canadian. Second, Chen Yi of China. And third place to Ustudis of Netherlands, 29.39. Aurélie Rivard showing her form. The Paralympic record broken again. Was set in heat number 2. And now Aurélie Rivard of Canada breaking that just a couple of minutes after in heat 3. It was a good start by the Canadian. Chen Yi, People's Republic of China, had a good middle part to her race. And it was all about the finish. Rivard found that extra stroke to touch ahead. That new Paralympic record, 27.83 for Rivard. Chen second. Ustudis, Netherlands in third. Well, into the final. Rivard, fastest seed, Pascoe, Chen, Laurenti, Watts, Molenkamp, Ribeiro and Zijdeveld make up the fastest 8.
This is the men's 100-meter backstroke. It's 11, heat 1 of 2. Among the swimmers who go in this opening heat include Bradley Snyder, multiple gold medalist from London 4 years ago, not in his strongest event. Liu Chengguang of China, Makowski of Poland, third at the World Championships, Smirnov of Ukraine, bronze medalist in this event, but of course champion as far back as 2004. Bradley Snyder, 100 and 400 gold medalist 4 years ago. Makowski, bronze. Third at the World Championships. Bronze in 2012 as Smirnov goes in 5. South Africa's Henry Herbst goes in 6. Good start for Herbst and indeed for Smirnov alongside him. And it's Smirnov who's got off to a splendid start. Liu Chengguan of China just hugging the lane rope in lane 3, but he's picking up the pace very nicely while going in lane 4, Wojciech Makowski of Poland. But coming into his own, certainly, is Smirnov on his outside, just losing his way ever so slightly here. Herbst is holding on, going in lane 6, not allowing the remainder of the swimmers to get too far ahead, but they're all relatively evenly matched, and indeed 0.8 of a second that separate the top 3, Makowski, Liu and Snyder. But Smirnov just struggling a little on the turn.
Makowski hugging the lane rope there, stroke for stroke with Liu, pacing each other as these two start to stroke away, and it's actually now Makovsky who is really finding his rhythm. He's got that clear water in the centre of the lane.
Well, Smirnov has lost his way, but it is Makovsky who's going to touch first. To the wall he goes. It's Snyder who touches second, and indeed very close for third, but it's Smirnov who just manages to hold on ahead of Liu Chengguan. Henry Herbst coming in fifth overall. A 109.4 for Wojciech Makowski of Poland. Not his personal best, but he knows he's capable of medaling once again. Snyder of USA. With a very strong swim, the 32-year-old military veteran. Well, Smirnov looked good for the opening 50, but lost his way at the turn.
That's a strong back end for Makovsky. He suddenly found that clear water in the middle of the lane, found his rhythm.
So Makovsky will make the final, certainly with a time of 109.4. Bradley, Snyder and Smirnov touching top three. It's the second heat of two in the men's 100 backstroke S11. Amongst the starters, the gold and silver medalists from 4 years ago. Zalewski of Ukraine goes in 4, Yang of China goes in 5. Yang, the silver medalist, Zalewski, the gold medalist. There he is, two-time world champion. Alongside him, Yang Bozun, now 30 years old, but lest we forget Yang Bozun's heroics in his home Paralympic Games of 2008. Gold medalist. He's a 10-time medalist, 4-time Paralympic champion. This is the men's 100 backstroke S11. S11 to 13 for visually impaired swimmers. S11 are swimmers who are either completely blind or are very limited and partially sighted, but all swimmers are required to swim with blackened goggles. Although there are varying levels of eyesight, very limited eyesight, blackened goggles are required for all swimmers, so all swimmers are helped by teammates who use tappers to touch them when they get close to the walls for both the turn and the finishing wall. Just a little technical hold up, it seems. Problem with the starting blocks for Yang's lane. Perhaps just being told by his official now, but all seems to be sorted. Into the pool the swimmers go. Jeremy McClure of Australia to watch out for as well, going in 3 at his 4th Paralympic Games. Second heat of 2 is underway in the men's 100 backstroke S11. It's a strong start for Yang Bozun, and so too for Maschenko of Ukraine, going in 6. And Zudzilao of Belarus is not doing too badly, just hugging the lane rope down in lane 7, but keeping stroke with the leaders, all fairly evenly matched, although there does seem now to be a little bit of a spurt coming through from Zalewski, the quality 2-time world champion, also hugging the lane rope, but he will get to the turn just about first. Who's going to make the turn first? It is McClure just ahead of Yang, with Zalewski losing a little in the turn. So he's got to make up for that in the water. McClure looking very good for that opening 50. He was coming in second to the turn, but managed to turn first, and he's holding it alongside Yang as they hit the final 25 meters. McClure, good stroke rate that he's producing, and is just edging in front ever so slightly now. Jeremy McClure, the 29-year-old from Australia, is at his 4th Paralympic Games. He's never medalled, but perhaps the chance for McClure he glides to the victory in the second heat of the men's 100 back, touches ahead of Yang, with Zalewski only touching third. Moschenko and Zuzilao finishing fairly strongly. Lemus Rojas of Colombia last to touch. But McClure of Australia, is there a first Paralympic medal to be had for the Australian? Well, it was just on the turn where the favourite, Zalewski, was left behind. And McClure, fine swim, a 109.79, second off his seeding time. Checking the goggles of the respective swimmers in the race. So the results of the second heat: Jeremy McClure ahead of Yang Bo-Sun. McClure's 109.79, the fastest overall in the heats, bar Markovsky's 109.4. So he'll have a good lane draw as well for the final. So advancing to the final, Riley Snyder will be among those in the last 8. 2 Chinese swimmers, including Yang Bo-Sun, bronze medalist from 4 years ago, silver medalist rather, and former champion. Regiane Silva of Brazil goes in lane 1. 2 Chinese swimmers in Li Yuji and Tai Li Wen, 17-year-old youngster, but Maya Richard in 3, Marina Pidubna of the Ukraine in 4, and Cecilia Camellini of Italy going in 3, 4, and 5. Reichert, the reigning Paralympic and World 100 breaststroke SB11 champion. Oh, Pidubna very quickly off the wall, the 18-year-old from Kharkiv. Bronze in Glasgow at the World Championships last year, but ever improving is Pidubna. Just needs to straighten her line at the moment as she goes colliding into the lane rope, but now pulling up into a very promising position is Tai Li Wen. Has she got the energy to hold on here? Maya Richard as well, not in her strongest event. She's very much a breaststroker, but who's just about there with Tai Li Wen going in 6, but Pidubna leading.
Well, it's going to be close at the turns we saw last time, using the tappers just to make that correct distance, and turning first it is Pidubna. After that strong start, she just had a good turn, and Tai Li Wen dropped down into 3rd, but again strong off the wall by the Chinese athlete, and it is now between Tai Li Wen and Marina Pidubna of Ukraine.
Well, Marina Pidubna had a really great turn. She was only 2/100ths of a second ahead of Maya Richard, but in the stroke she is significantly ahead. Richard is falling off the pace. It is Camellini who is coming back of Italy, but at the moment it is Tai Li Wen who in the stroke has just been the strongest swimmer in the back end and will come to the wall ahead of Pidubna, with Camellini doing enough to touch for 3rd overall. Maya Richard will eventually get 5th overall. Li Guiji doing enough to touch 4th, a 123.96 for her, but a good victory for Tai Li Wen, 120.59. Winner of the first heat of 2 in the women's 100 back S11. Camellini She's been on the podium before for this event, bronze medal 4 years ago, the 24-year-old Italian.
Chai Li Wen knocked 5 seconds off her personal best in that race. Really peaking for these Paralympic Games.
Results, Chai Li Wen ahead of Marina Pidovna, while Cecilia Camalini with a good strong finish to see her touching 122.01. It's well outside her best, but she'll be around for the final, you suspect. Women's 100 backstroke S11 second heat. 16 swimmers across the 2 heats. Mary Fisher of New Zealand with the quickest seeding time, a 1:19.01. She's not far off Rina Akiyama's world record. Rina Akiyama holds both the Paralympic record and the world record, not here in Rio 2016. Mary Fisher of New Zealand, the 200 individual medley champion at the London Games, and a multiple world champion, including world championship title in Glasgow last year in this event for Mary Fisher. Alongside her there is Katarina Chachuk of Ukraine. Daniela Schulte of Germany goes in 5. Elizabeth Egel of Estonia in 6. Rabolini of Italy in 7. Martinez of the United States going in 8. Berezhna will start up in 1, and Ono of Japan will start in 2. Well, good height from Mary Fisher, but didn't get away quite as quickly as Elizabeth Egel of Estonia. But certainly once she hit her stroke, Fisher is showing her class in the pool. She is an 8-time world champion across the various strokes in the S11 category, but in the women's 100 backstroke, she's the reigning world champion, Mary Fisher of New Zealand. Just hugging the lane rope, going down very quickly, but not losing Tachuk of Ukraine, who is going in lane 3, but it'll be Fisher to turn first.
Well, it's Fisher at the turn. Tachuk a second down and lost some ground coming out of the wall, and now Mary Fisher of New Zealand still hugging that lane rope, but finding a rhythm and opening up a bit of clear water. Tachuk just starting to fade slightly as the rest of the field coming back on the Ukrainian, as Mary Fisher really starts to dominate this race.
Well, she's going for a good pace here. This is looking for about a 1:20 swim, which will be a very good indication of where she is in her swimming at the moment. It could even go even faster, and gets to the wall in Paralympic record time, just outside world record. So a new Paralympic record for Mary Fisher. She touches ahead of Tachuk, and Ono doing enough to finish 3rd overall. Ono quick as well, a 1:25.36. Tachuk a 1:21.9, but Mary Fisher a 1:18.68. And going below that 1:19 mark, that'll be a very good omen for Mary Fisher heading into the final.
Not only is that a Paralympic record for Mary Fisher, it's a personal best for the athlete from New Zealand. quick off the blocks, a little slower underwater, but once she got into her stroke, she was in good form. And if she can just perfect that start and that turn in the final, we could well see a new world record.
Mary Fisher of New Zealand, silver medalist 4 years ago, but showing why she's won the last 2 World Championships. So 1:18.68, not far off the world record, a Paralympic record time in the heats. So Fisher is the swimmer to catch in the 100 back S11. She touches well ahead of Tsai Lee Wen's time. Pidubna, Swachuk, they'll be there to watch, and Kamalini will want a medal again.
Men's 400 freestyle S9, the first of the 2 heats. And the bronze medalist going in the fastest lane from London 2012, Italy's Federico Molacci. Castillo Estevez, Cuba. Powell of Australia. White, Great Britain goes in 3. Molacci, the fastest seed in heat 1. Rachat of Portugal, Mari Alcaraz of Spain, and Biskup, Poland in lane 7. 7 swimmers in this first heat. Federico Molacci in lane 4. Fastest entry time by 6 seconds. This a race about pacing. The men's 400 freestyle S9. 8 lengths of this Olympic-sized swimming pool. And the centre 4 lanes off to a strong start. Going well out in lane 3. Lewis White of Great Britain. Also competes in para-athletics. But it's all about the action in the pool. Turning first, Lewis White. Molacci, the bronze medalist from London, in a second. Closely followed by Maria Alcaraz, the Spaniard, in lane 6. Well, now starting to come through, finding his rhythm. Molacci, the Italian, favourite in heat 1, looking very relaxed as they come towards the 100 metres, and just in that last length, he's just put his marker down.
Well, he has indeed, turning at the 100, currently in front. I think it's really looking to be a smart race that's being swum by Molacci. Lewis White and David Rachat and Mari Alcaraz, all swimmers that are up in a line virtually with one another. Only just ahead is Molacci currently. Biskup is not being lost of Poland, although Powell of Australia and Castillo Estevez of Cuba are a little off the pace. But first at the turn of the 150 mark, again it is Molacci, but a good settled stroke now, and it's about keeping the consistency in the splits. You want to be going around 32, 33 seconds for each of these splits if you can hold that sort of pace. And certainly Lewis White and Federico Molacci among those who are able to swim those consistent splits. But it is also a lot more comfortable when you find yourself in these longer distances. This is 8 lengths of the Olympic size pool, 50 meters in total. Oh, it's Alcaraz who touches first this time. So going a little faster now, but Molacci won't be overly concerned about that. He'll be swimming his race. Although Mari Alcaraz posting a 33.17 last 100 meters, around near the 34 second mark for Molacci, slowing ever so slightly. But it's about finding your consistency. What you often see in the 400s, 800s, 1,500 meter races in the pool, but certainly at the Paralympic Games, sometimes swimmers get a little more comfortable, as you do in training routines, where you swim closer to the lane rope going down one side and come back a little on the other. And Morlachi was for 100 meters or so just tending towards one side of the lane rope, not quite hugging it, but getting into that settled stroke of a training routine.
And Morlachi just increasing the pace ever so slightly. That's his fastest 50 out of the last 4. And you can see as a result, he's just regained the lead, maybe wanting to stay in control of this race as we come towards the final 100 meters. And it is now a race between these 4 at the turn, 100 meters to go. Federico Morlachi just leading, not such a strong turn, and lost a bit of ground there as David Grachat of Portugal coming back onto his shoulder, and Lewis White of Great Britain on the other shoulder of the Italian. Marie Alcaraz just slightly being dropped from the pace, and the crowd starting to get excited because this is turning into a tight race. Morlachi seeming to be in control, but he's being pressured by Grachat and White on either side of him. This now, the final turn, very close indeed, but Morlachi just leads White over Grachat in 3rd. And White having a spurt out of the wall in lane 3 for Great Britain.
Well, this really is turning out to be an intriguing affair, but in the last 50 it's White and Morlachi who are sprinting away, it's fair to say, from the other 2 who are in contention till the last 50.
Well, now Morlachi, that long stroke, just putting on a spurt at the end. White can't quite go with him. It's Morlachi wins, White, Great Britain 2nd, and Grachat touching in 3rd. Marie Alcaraz was in the mix for so much of it and ended up just 0.03 of a second behind Grachat in 4th. A very close finish for a 400 race.
Well, a big smile from the victor in the opening heat of the men's 400 free S9, Federico Morlachi. Well, he just dropped a little in at the 250 mark. It looked like he was starting to let things go ever so slightly, but picked it up again in the back end and came home with a 33.50 final 50.
Morlachi has qualifying time 5 seconds quicker than that 4:22 he delivered in heat number 1, and I'm sure he will have more when it comes to the final. Just doing enough to win heat number 1 in this men's 400 freestyle S9. Just touching ahead, Morlachi over White. Grachat of Portugal just 300ths faster than Marie Alcaraz to finish in 3rd. Men's 400 freestyle S9, the 2nd of 2 heats. Yamada, Hodge, Booth, Brenton Hall, the fastest seed for Australia in lane 4. Vincetic, Croatia, Reynolds, New Zealand in Kwan, Republic of Korea. Brenton Hall, the current world record and Paralympic record holder. Won this event 4 years ago, the current Paralympic and world champion. And they're off, the men's 400 freestyle S9. The Australian champion and world record holder, Brenton Hall, getting into his rhythm early on in this race. He's got Great Britain's Jonathan Booth on his right-hand side. Booth with a much faster stroke rate. Hall looking relaxed as they come to the first turn. And it's out in lane 1, Takuri Yamada of Japan, who's set out in a good pace. Hall turning 2nd, and Hodge of Australia, his compatriot, turning in 3rd at this very early stages in the 400-meter race. 8 lengths of this pool. It's about finding the rhythm. And Brenton Hall just looks so relaxed. The athletes on either side of him, their stroke rates far quicker. And Hall now starting to open up a lead already after just the first 100 metres. Turning first comfortably now. And that's a 1 second lead over Jonathan Booth of Great Britain, who just leads the second Australian, Timothy Hodge. As the field start to develop a bit of a pattern here, being led by Brendan Hall, the world record holder. Broke that world record 3 years ago. Turning in the lead at the 150 mark. Equal second now, Hodge and Booth on the left-hand shoulder. Brendan Hall, he won't be worried about them at the moment. Swimming his own race from the front. And now Timothy Hodge of Australia just trying to edge ahead of Great Britain's Jonathan Booth. Also going well. Vincetic coming back into the race now. The Croatian suddenly moved up into second as they turn the halfway point.
Well, Brendan Hall is a real class act. He's one of those swimmers who's just able to find his consistency, and he's managed to show once again the class that he's able to produce. But indeed, Vincetic of Croatia and Jonathan Booth of Great Britain are not allowing Brendan Hall to have it all his own way, although he's the type of swimmer who can go out well below 30 seconds, a good 29-second starter, and then keep it consistent at 32, maybe 33 in some of the middle 50s. But Brendan Hall knows what he needs to do to claim victory, and he's not going to be expending all of his energy in the pool. He's somebody who's been swimming since 2001, and he's also somebody who studied exercise science. He's got the background knowledge. He understands the physiology of swimming, not only from an athlete's perspective, but from a science perspective as well. So a very psychologically strong individual is Brendan Hall of Australia. I think you need to go back to about 6 years for the last time anybody beat him in this event. He's a phenomenal swimmer, and he's a regular open water swimmer as well. He builds the strength, he's got the ability to put in huge distances. So 400 meters in the pool is really not going to be testing him or asking him to expend too much aerobic energy.
Well, he is looking incredibly relaxed. That stroke rate is just maintained throughout, as have his splits. The last 350s, all 33 points. And now the final turn still maintains the same pace, 33.32. Really is having just to swim his own race as Booth and Hodge and also Vincetic battle it out for second and third. Brendan Hall has this race wrapped up, a class act, really gliding ahead, just kicking his legs a little bit more for the finish, wanting to maintain that lead. And a strong finish now by Jonathan Booth of Great Britain. Vincetic also having a strong finish, but it's Brendan Hall who made that look easy to win over Jonathan Booth of Great Britain. Vincetic finishing in third, ahead of Timothy Hodge of Australia. Time 4:20.46 for Brendan Hall. His world record, a whole 11 seconds quicker than that. You can see looking so relaxed. He looks as though he's hardly out of breath. Very comfortable indeed. For Hall. He wasn't pushed at all in that race. Brendan Hall, world record holder, and showing his class right from the start. Has gone 10 seconds quicker this year. I expect we'll see something impressive in the final. Jonathan Booth having a very strong finish to his race for Great Britain, touch in second, and Vincetic just edging ahead of Hodge for third. Well, through to the final, no surprises there. Hall, the fastest seed. Malachi, winner of Heat 2. And of Great Britain's Lewis White, making the top three that will race again in the finals. Women's 400 Freestyle S9. Three heats in this event. Yuki Morishita for Japan, Ashley McConnell representing Australia, and Chantal Inche from Trinidad and Tobago go in heat one. Three heats for the women's 400 Freestyle S9. Ince from Trinidad and Tobago finished 10th at the Paralympic Games in 2012. The women's 400 Freestyle S9, the first heat, and off to a very strong start. Ashley McConnell, the Australian, flanked by Morishita on her right-hand side, and Inche, Trinidad and Tobago on the left. Well, that was a good first 25 by McConnell. Won a gold medal in last year's World Championships as part of the relay team for Australia, but taking the early lead at the first turn, it's Morishita. She finished 4th in the Asian Para Games in this event, just 19 years of age, competing in her first Paralympic Games. She's going out very strong indeed.
Yes, this is a very quick pace. Morishita knows that she needs to make up. Her seeding time is not sensational, but if she can improve on that by some margin, she has a hope of perhaps swimming in the final, and that'll be the aim ultimately of Morishita. The seeding times for the swimmers from the qualification time for the Paralympic Games sees them seeded in the various heats, with generally the slowest swimmers going in heat one and the fastest swimmers going in the last heat, however many there are. There are 3 in this event, which will see the likes of Ellie Cole of Australia, of course, go. But an opportunity for swimmers in the earlier heats to post quick enough times to fight their way through for a place in the final. But Morishita is going to need to pick up the pace slightly. Has she got enough to do exactly that?
Well, turning in the lead there, 3-second advantage over McConnell of Australia. Morishita is extending that lead, but a second slower on that third 50 metres, and she can't afford to drop the pace from this, having to swim it from the front. It's a tough call in a 400-metre race. No one to pace, and it really is a matter of going all out to make it into the final. The top 8 from these 3 heats will get to race again in the final. So now the 200-metre mark, Yuki Morishita. Another 2 seconds slower over that fourth 50. Ashley McConnell starting to close the gap slightly from the Japanese athlete. Chantal Inch, Trinidad and Tobago still staying in touch, more consistent with her splits. The athletes on that last 50 all posting 41 seconds for their fourth 50 metres. But now Ashley McConnell starting to up her pace and really clawing back on Morishita. Morishita had a 3-second lead 100 metres ago, and now only just turning ahead. Again, another second slower for Morishita, but McConnell took almost 2 seconds off her previous 50 metres and now takes the lead.
Well, Morishita is swimming at the moment 4 odd seconds slower than she was 100 metres ago, so this is a sign that she is tiring. over the 50-meter distance, and McConnell is coming to her own. In fact, she is half a second quicker than she was 150 meters ago. So McConnell is picking up the pace, although ever so slightly, fairly consistent overall. Chantal Ince just dropping off a little again with a slower last 50 meters, but Morishita looks to have tired herself out, trying to go out a little too fast in the hopes perhaps of posting a quick time. And again, a consistent 39.86 for Ashley McConnell of Australia, as she just drives home this advantage in the pool at the moment. So she's increasing her lead by swimming faster and faster over the last 100 meters. She's nearly 2 seconds quicker than she was in the previous 100.
We call it a negative split in swimming if you manage to complete the second half of your race faster than the first, and it looks as though Ashley McConnell could well be about to demonstrate that type of pacing, whereas Yuki Morishita really did give it everything a little bit too early, and her time's now dropping off. And there's McConnell, another 39 points. The last 3 50 meters have been so consistent by the Australian. What has she got for the final length of this 400-meter heat? Very consistent second half. She just turned at that 200-meter mark and just decided, I'm going to put the burners down, and she's maintained this new fast pace for the second half of the race. Very consistent, a race of 2 halves by the Australian Ashley McConnell. And now 15 meters ahead of Morishita. She comes into touch, a time of 5:16.28, just 3 seconds outside her qualifying time. Yuki Morishita of Japan will touch in second, 5:28.86, just outside her personal best. And Chantal Ince, a 5:31. Well, Ashley McConnell pleased with her pacing in that first heat of the women's 400 freestyle. Ashley McConnell, 5:16.28, just outside qualifier. Yuki Morishita went out very hard indeed and finished in second ahead of Chantal Ince. The Australians pleased with the win in heat number 1 for McConnell. Morishita just digesting her time. And now women's 400 freestyle S9, the second of the 3 heats. We have Lindsay Grogan, USA, in lane 1. Camille Cruz representing Brazil. Hannah Asden, USA. Nuria Marquez Soto of Spain. Amy Marin of Great Britain. Natalie Sims, USA. And Yulia Gordichuk of Israel all go in this heat number 2. Camille Cruz, the Brazilian, goes in lane 2. Well, the world record still stands from Nathalie Dutoit from the Beijing Paralympics. Camille Cruz will undoubtedly have a lot of support throughout this 400-meter race. Great Britain's Amy Marin finished 4th in this event 4 years ago. Fastest seed in lane 4, Nuria Marquez Soto. The women's 400 freestyle S9, crowd erupting for lane 2. Camille Cruz, Brazil. But it's the centre two lanes that get into their rhythm. Marquez Soto, the Spanish, alongside her, Amy Marin of Great Britain, taking an early lead. Nuria Marquez Soto, the silver medal from World Championships last year, finding the early pace. Great Britain's Amy Marin trying to stick on the shoulder of the Spanish athlete. Anna Asplem, USA, turns in third. But it looks as though the leaders are now opening up a little bit of a gap. Marquez Soto and Marin. Marin trying to stay with the Spanish athlete. But Nuria Marquez Soto putting the pace down here as they come to the first 100 meters. Still ahead. Marin in second, finding a consistent pace. That's what it's all about. Well, going well on the outside. Gordishuk, the Israeli, turns in third.
Well, showing her class here. She was only 16 years old at the World Championships last year, Marquez Soto, where she surprised with her performances. Podium finishes in the 100 and 400 freestyle, and indeed in the 100 back and 100 fly. She's a good all-round swimmer, very strong swimmer, and again, it's got the energy in the pool, but the 400, one of the longer distances and the longest at the Paralympic Games. The swimmers will need to find a consistency and need to find a rhythm and a good stroke rate. There is the opportunity to speed it up in the closing stages, but Marin is staying with Marquez Soto here. Nuria Marquez Soto of Spain is the fastest in this heat, and looking again to post a time that'll be competitive and see her with a decent lane draw for the final. That'll be her aim. She'll know she'll have to swim against swimmers like Manon Vermarian of the Netherlands and indeed Ellie Cole of Australia in all likelihood, so that's where she'll be focusing her attention. But at the 200-meter mark, there's less than half a second that splits Marquez Soto from Marin, but third is nearly 6 seconds back with Natalie Sims, who got off to an explosive start off the blocks but has been dropped by the swimmers in the pool. But it's Marin who's making a move now in the latter half of this race. Is Amy Marin going to be trying to go for the negative splits in this race?
Marquez Soto dropped by almost 2 seconds on that fourth 50. So it's hard to tell whether Marin is increasing her pace or Marquez Soto just dropping off it slightly. And both swimmers there pretty consistent. Marquez Soto just ahead of Marin, but now looks as though Marin came out of that turn. She's got her head down. She's breathing to the right-hand side, so she won't see Nuria Marquez Soto on this 50 meters, and maybe using that to advantage to get into a rhythm, because now Amy Marin has the lead as they come towards the final 100 meters.
Well, indeed, you point out, talking about watching the swimmer alongside you, and indeed we've seen it before where swimmers are in fact a little focused on beating a rival or staying ahead of their opponent, that they almost forget to swim their own race. They neglect their own race strategy, and sometimes you can see that proving costly. That said, this is still a heat where times are going to get you into a final quite possibly, but these two are making a real charge for decent lane draws come the final as well. As they edge towards the very last turn, they're well off world record pace. It's not going to be blistering pace, but I'm hoping it'll be enough to see them sneak in to the final. Again, less than 0.4 of a second separates Marquez Soto and Marin, as Marquez Soto touches just ahead of the great British swimmer.
Well, Marin again strong off the wall, breathing on that right-hand side, and just seems to really excel on the 50 meters when she's going this way. And now both swimmers upping the pace. You can see the leg kick suddenly increased by Amy Marin of Great Britain. She wants to win this heat. The pace has been upped incredibly. Marquez Soto tries to go with her, and Amy Marin wins heat 2 for Great Britain. Marquez Soto second. It's going to be very close indeed to see who touches in third. It is Natalie Sims, USA. And they're finishing now to the crowd's applause. Brazil's Camille Cruz touched in 5th, just behind Hannah Asten, USA. 1100ths of a second separating Sins and Asten, the USA teammates. Amy Marin jostling the whole way with Nuria Marquez-Sotu, tops heat 2. Natalie Sims just beating her teammate Hannah Aston into 3rd place. The women's 400 freestyle S9, final of the 3 heats for this event. Katarina Roxon of Canada goes in lane 1. Zhu Jiangli of the Republic of China next to her. Javier Konkoli. Ellie Cole of Australia, the fastest seed, next to her. Manon Vermarayan, the Dutch athlete. Emily Gray of South Africa and Francesca Secchi, the Italian, make up heat number 3. Very strong start by Ellie Cole, the Australian, in lane 4, smoothly into the water. Just a slight advantage over the rest of the field, who are incredibly close in the early stages. This is the 400-metre race, so it's all about pacing. Going well on the right-hand side of Cole, it's the young Hungarian, Zsofia Konkoli, just 14 years of age. In this women's 400 freestyle S9 heat number 3, the final heat of this event. And looking so relaxed, first at the 50-metre turn. Ellie Cole. Zhu Jiangli, so going well out in lane 2, currently in 2nd, just ahead of Konkoli. But no one trying to go with Ellie Cole, the Australian, at this stage.
Well, she's certainly the experienced competitor in this race. Alongside her, though, the promising talents of Vermaeren of Netherlands and indeed Konkoli of Hungary, who only really had her first international experience or taste of experience at the World Championships last year, where she was only just a teenager, but now at 14 competing in her first Paralympic Games. South Africa's Emily Gray, who grew up swimming alongside Natalie du Toit, the world record holder in this event, of course, and a champion so famously going back to Beijing when she set that world record as well. A time that even she couldn't better in her subsequent races, 4:23.81. And Emily Gray still swimming out of South Africa Tuck Sport, where she studies at the University of Pretoria. But Konkoli and Vermaeren of Hungary and Netherlands respectively, 2 teenagers with a world of promise in this distance. And for Konkoli, though, it's the first time that she's swimming a longer distance at an international event. She's generally only swum the shorter races, the 100s. She did swim a 200 at the World Championships, but this is the first time that she's at a major international competition swimming the 400. But for Ellie Cole, I mean, a 9-time Paralympic medalist, a 4-time champion, she's got the ability to control this race, and that's exactly what she's doing. She's taking it very easily. It's a very slow stroke rate. She's just gliding through the water, while the quicker stroke rates are alongside her, particularly from Vermaeren of Netherlands. She's just upping the rate. Indeed, she's making up a little bit of pace, a little bit of room as well. But I think a swimmer who's starting to show a good back end here is Zhu Jialing of China. She's showing some consistency, and in fact that 150-meter split at 36 seconds was by far the quickest of all the swimmers, even quicker than Ellie Cole, who she's making room up on now.
Well, Ellie Cole still leads with 150 meters to go, but that gap has significantly shrunk. Zhu Jiangli another 36 seconds on that previous 50. You can see the gap closing fast. For Marion, the Dutch athlete in lane 5, also trying to close a little bit on Ellie Cole. I think Ellie Cole now realizes there's been a little pressure on either side and just upping that pace again. She wants to control this race. The young Hungarian Konkoli dropped back a little bit now as they have just 100 meters left to go. Ellie Cole still leads. She has increased that lead over Zhu Jiangling, who dropped a second off on that previous 50. For Marianne, a 37 point as well, maintaining the same pace as Cole over that last 50. But again, now it is Zhu Jiangling who's trying to close that gap on Cole as they come towards the final turn. Ellie Cole looking in control, and every time her competitors get a little bit close, she just seems to increase that pace ever so slightly. Turns now with 50 meters to go. She's got this race in control. Ellie Cole just split a 36 seconds on her penultimate 50, increasing the pace a little bit, just reacting to that pressure that's coming from Zhu Jiangling of China on her left-hand side. And it's going to be a strong finish by the Chinese athlete now. She's really kicking hard. Zhu Jiangli posted another 36 point on her penultimate 50, and she's putting some pressure onto Ellie Cole. Ellie Cole's going to want to win this heat, and she just holds off. The Australian wins in a time of 4:50.19, a whole second ahead of Zhu Jiangli. And third place to Manon Vermeulen from the Netherlands. That was a controlled race by Cole. Only 1 second outside of her personal best. So the Australian looking comfortable, but maybe putting in a bit more effort than she might have wanted to do at the end of that race.
Well, I think she was firmly in control of it from start to finish. She was indeed pushed by Zhu Jiangling in particular in the closing stages, and earlier by the likes of Konkoli and Famarian, but she did what she needed to do, Ellie Cole, and she swam the smart race without expending a great deal of energy. But an Asian record for Zhu Jiangling just gives you an idea of how strongly she was pushing in the closing stages.
So Ellie Cole topped heat 3 ahead of Zhu, 1 second in hand. Vermeulen swam a consistent race. So into the final. Ellie Cole will be the fastest seed over Zhu Jiangling. Vermeulen, the 3 swimmers from that final heat. Amy Marin, who won heat 2, into the final in the 4th place for Great Britain.
This is the start list for the men's 100 fly S8. Jesse Ingles of Australia will be taken to the pool in a moment. Charles Rozoy, the gold medalist of 2012. Yang Guanglong, a 19-year-old who took up the sport in recent years. Niels Mortensen of Denmark, and Andreas Onia of Austria will be going in outside lanes. But Rudi Garcia Tolson, 29-year-old para-athlete, and I mean that in every sense of the word, goes in lane 7. In London 2012, this is Rozoy, the defending champion, but going in lane 7 is a man who competed in both athletics and swimming. In London 2012, a remarkable story, and a phenomenal athlete, Garcia Tolson. Swimmers getting underway in the first heat of 2 in the men's 100 fly S8. And going very strongly is Charles Rozoy, the 29-year-old from Dijon, who's also a regular para-triathlete, competes for France nationally as well. And Yang Guanglong and Niels Mortensen of Denmark were putting pressure initially, but at the moment it is only Yang who is maintaining pace with the Frenchman who leads. Third to touch though, under 30 seconds, is Andreas Onia of Austria.
Well, coming strongly off the wall, Charles Rozoy of France, finding his rhythm. He had a good underwater phase, and now it's up to Yang to try and close that gap as they enter the final stages.
Rozoy is the swimmer to beat, but Yang is not letting him go. A 1:02.61 for Yang in qualifying. He's going to better that almost certainly here. And Rozoy, is he going to touch it on the stroke? It is Yang indeed. Timed his stroke to perfection, a new personal best for Yang. While Rozoy, a 1:01.15. It's around about the times he's been swimming this year. Not too far off Paralympic record pace, but a fine swim from Yang Guanglong. And to beat the defending champion shows a little intent. Rudy Garcia-Tolson, a 1:09.73, touching 6th fastest overall. But for Yang Guanglong, a good victory over Rozoy in the opening heat of 2 in the men's 100 fly S8. Over 3 seconds, nearly 4 seconds ahead of Andreas Onia of Austria, who was 3rd fastest overall.
Well, not far off the Paralympic record, less than 1/10 of a second. It was very close at the finish, all about the timing of that stroke.
Rozoy trying to glide to the wall while Yang hit it on the stroke. He timed it to perfection. Onia Ungles of Australia, 1:05.37. They'll be looking out for a possibility of the final. Second heat of the men's 100 fly S8. An enormous cheer for Gabriel Sousa of the host nation. He goes in lane 7. Carrera of Portugal, Andrade Guillen of Mexico, Song of China, Xu of China, Austin of the United States of America, and Sousa of Brazil going in lanes 2 to 7. Peter Leek of Australia, the Paralympic champion 8 years ago, the world record holder currently. That record has stood for 6 odd years now, having set it in the pool of the World Championships in Eindhoven. Oh, just exploding off the starting blocks was Song Maodong of China, the bronze medalist in 2012, and so quickly into his stroke. He's half a body length ahead, but an incredible reaction time. Sousa got off to a good start, but he's losing a little in the water. And at the moment it is Song who leads, not by a great deal, from Xu Haijiao, his compatriot, and indeed the Mexican swimmer Andrade Guillen.
Well, it's going to be incredibly close, terminating on the strokes, and who meets the wall on the perfect stroke? It's Xu Haijiao just touching ahead of his compatriot Song Maodong. And as they come out of the wall, they are almost stroke for stroke, just slightly dropping. And Andrade Guillen, the Mexican, now can't quite stick with the pace that these athletes are setting in the centre of the pool.
Well, Xu is the swimmer to watch. She's got a very strong stroke as Xu Haijiao, he and Song are making it a China 1-2. Song is not going to catch up. It is going to be Xu, who touched 1/100th of a second at the 50 mark ahead of his compatriot, touches well ahead of his compatriot, over half a second ahead at the wall, a 1:01.01. Xu Haijiao, very, very close to that Paralympic record of 1:95. Just ahead of Song, bronze medalist from 4 years ago. Andrade Guillen held on for 3rd place ahead of Evan Austin of United States. Carrera and Sousa touching 5th and 6th respectively. And swimming alongside one another, the two Chinese swimmers just driving one another along, particularly in the opening 50. It was Song who got off to the better start, with Xu with a better stroke, and he maintained it to the wall over the last 50, well ahead of 3rd placed Andrade Guillen of Mexico. So swimmers that advance to the final, look at the times. There's not much that separate the top four. Zhu, Yang, Rozoi and Song. Is Rozoi going to be able to break up the Chinese domination of the heats when it comes to the final? This is the penultimate event of the 14 on offer in the heat session of day 2 of competition. The women's 100 fly S8. And indeed, a little redemption time perhaps for Jessica Long. Beaten in her favourite event in competition on day 1. Jessica Long finds herself in the heat of an event that she's dominated going back the last 10 odd years. Jessica Long, currently a Paralympic record holder, a 1:10 swimmer at her best. At the Paralympic Games, that is. She's a 1:09 swimmer at her best. Stephanie Slater of Great Britain, the world record holder, will be going in the second of the 2 heats. Long didn't get away very quickly. It was Liu Weiyun of China in lane 5 who got away spectacularly well. Mallory Wegerman going in 6 and Brickleborough, both of the United States, going in 6 and 7 respectively. But it is Liu Weiyun of China going in lane 5, while Jessica Long in the stroke, though, is making up for it and now does hit in front just ahead of Madison Elliott, going along fairly well in lane 3.
Well, she took a little while to get into her rhythm, but now Jessica Long, after that poor start, starting to dominate, turning first ahead of Liu. Elliott from Australia still in 3rd, and now this is where Jessica Long starts to open up that gap. Finding the rhythm in butterfly is so essential. She's still got Liu on her right-hand shoulder, but Jessica Long looks like she has control.
Well, you need to go back to 2004 in Athens to find anybody else who's actually beaten Jessica Long and winning Paralympic gold in this event. And in the morning heats, she's not going to lose out. It's not going to be close to her fastest time, but she'll post a time that'll hopefully give her a decent lane draw, she would imagine. Long ahead of Liu, with Elliott of Australia touching in 3rd overall. All swimmers who are posting times should be quick enough to comfortably make the final. 1:11, 1:12 and 1:16, 1:8 for Madison Elliott. Jessica Long with a victory in the opening heat of 2 for the women's 100 fly. Liu Weiyun blowing kisses to the crowd and kisses to the camera. The class act, the most decorated US para-athlete currently active, is Jessica Long. So victorious in the first heat of the women's 100 fly S8, ahead of Liu Weiyun. Madison Elliott of Australia, the 1:16.18. She'll fancy herself for a place in the final with that time. So you're getting a little Icelandic flavour in Brazil. The women's 100 fly S8 heat 2. This is the women's 100 fly S8. World record holder Stephanie Slater goes in 4, but she hasn't been posting the times that she swam when she set the world record back in 2014 in recent months. But she does own the world record, Stephanie Slater, and she will want to back that up with a performance in the pool here in Rio. This women's 100 fly S8, she will be up against somebody who is wanting to spoil the party. That was Istomina you saw for just a moment, and this is Xiaoqin of China, who goes in lane 7. But it is Slater of Great Britain in lane 4. Do not discount Istomina, who goes in 5. She was a silver medalist 4 years ago. She's ranked 2nd in the world. And she has the ability to upset both Jessica Long and Stephanie Slater in the pool in this race. Jiang Shengang should not be discounted either. Bronze medalist 4 years ago. China goes in lane 3. Although Slater, ranked 1 in the world currently, the swimmer to watch in 4. Solid start from Stephanie Slater. Uses that underwater, breaks the water now. Good streamline from Istomina alongside her. And Slater and Istomina already pulling away. The two of them are showing some real intent in the opening 25. They've picked up the pace very nicely. Stephanie Slater, some wonderful body movement, very powerful kick, but Istomina a little less flamboyant, you might say, in her style, but she's certainly proving effective alongside her. Slater's not getting away.
Well, less than 1/10 of a second separating Slater and Istomina at that turn, and it looks as though Istomina has come out of the wall very strong indeed, and now has the advantage over the world record holder, Stephanie Slater of Great Britain. And not just happy with that, she is starting to streak ahead. A body length lead now for Katerina Istomina.
Well, the way she pushed off the wall was so impressive. A phenomenal turn from Katerina Istomina. I mentioned that she's got the ability to upset and certainly spoil the party for a few more fancied swimmers, but Istomina first to the wall in a 1:10.36. She will take that. While Slater manages to hold on just ahead of Xiaoqin, who is closing fast. Lakeisha Patterson, already a gold medalist at these Paralympic Games for Australia, touching 4th fastest to 1:19.96. She'll fancy a place in the final, Patterson, but Istomina, what a race. Not far off from Jessica Long's Paralympic record, 4/100ths of a second off it. Well, Stephanie Slater, a place in the final is all she needs. She finishes 2nd in this heat. So overall, Istomina ahead of Stephanie Slater. Xiaoqin with an Asian record 1:16.94. Lakeisha Patterson through to the final. Doris Winter with their respective results. And these are the swimmers through to the final. It is Patterson who sneaks in with Wegeman from heat 1. But Long, Istomina, Slater, Elliott and Chin all set to do battle.
Mixed 4x50 freestyle relay, 20 points. 2 heats, the first heat, Greece, Ukraine, Mexico and Israel. 2 men, 2 women per team. And the classification between these 4 athletes must not exceed 20 points. The team of Greece, consisting of Alexandra Stamanopoulou, Chrysoulou, Antoniadou, Panagotis Christakis and Georgios Valtos. They go in lane 3. Next to them, it's the team of Ukraine. Yelizaveta Vereshchuk, Dmitry Vinhoradets over Swiderska and Bogdan Yanenko. Mexico not starting, so we'll have an empty lane in 5. And then lane 6, the team of Israel. Itzhak Mehmet Valov, Erel Halavi, Inbal Pizarro, and Yoav Velinsky. So just 3 teams in heat number 1, 2 heats in this mixed 4x50 freestyle relay. Greece, Ukraine, and Israel. The fastest 8 teams will then make it into the finals. By 50 meters. The teams can choose the order they enter the swimmers. And expect to see several changes throughout this race. 2 men, 2 women of varying classifications. So the early stages are not necessarily a significant sign to go by, but it's Mereshenko, Ukraine, who's off to a storming start. So it's going to be Ukraine who will lead at the first changeover. Mereshko touching in first as she heads over to her teammate. Vinhoradets coming in second now. It's the team from Greece. Stepanopoulou handing over to teammate Antoniado. Israel currently in 3rd position.
Well, ultimately, one of the great things about introducing the mixed relays to the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, it wasn't an event that was swum in London, is ultimately what Paralympic Games is trying to do is to allow for more events for athletes with high support needs. So it's limited to 20 points, but you've got this mixed relay event that at the moment Ukraine seems to be dominating. It's a very good second swim from Dimo, as he's known to his teammates, but Vinhoradets doing very nicely, handing over to Olga Swiderska, who's got some pace in the pool. But it is the Ukraine who currently lead ahead of Greece. Antoniadou hands over to Christakis, Panagiotis Christakis now in the pool. So 2 male swimmers to finish for Greece. And at the moment it is Ukraine who are leading. They've gone with a female-male, female-male switch, while handing over now Erol Halabi gifts Inbal Pizarro an opportunity in the pool for Israel going in 6th. They're currently 3rd overall, but this is Ukraine. At the final changeover, Bogdan Hrinenko into the pool he goes, and he is going to be holding on almost certainly, but it's a better third leg from Greece. Let's see them currently 2nd and make up some big time.
Well, it does look as though Ukraine have put their fastest swimmer on the final leg. Bogdan Hrinenko storming to victory. A 2:32.19 for the team of Ukraine. A couple of seconds away from the world record. Second for Greece, a strong finish there by Georgios Flautos. And the crowd supporting home the team of Israel. Yoav Velinsky on the anchor leg of this mixed 4x50 freestyle relay, 20 points. And finishing in 3rd, it is Israel to conclude heat number 1. Well, Ukraine dominant in this race from the start. They'll be putting themselves in a strong contention for the finals later on.
It was a very fast time indeed, and there is a lot of calculation that goes into deciding who swims in the mixed relay events. Must have 2 males and 2 females. Just making sure that the touch had been completed. You need to make quick changeovers, but indeed they need to be legal changeovers as well. And the moment into the wall, the male-female tactic certainly worked for Ukraine, starting off with Mereshko and then Vinohradets before Olga Swiderska gave Ukraine a brilliant lead, but Hrnenko with a real pace at the end to finish. Ukraine only a couple of seconds off that world record time in an event that's not been swum widely internationally in recent times, but at 2:32.19. They'll be in for a good medal shout come the final, you would imagine. Greece 2:43.43 and a 3:10 for Israel.
The mixed 4x50 freestyle relay, 20 points, the second of the 2 heats. Colombia, People's Republic of China, Brazil go in the fastest lane, flanked by Italy, and then Australia in lane 6. The team of Brazil seated in the fastest lane.
There's the Paralympic shark, Eduardo Silva. One of the greatest of all swimmers at the Paralympic Games. Eduardo Silva was given the honor, I saw him a moment ago, of lighting the Paralympic flame as well at the opening ceremony. So highly regarded is the revered Paralympic athlete.
By 50-meter freestyle, 2 men, 2 women. The countries can choose the order in which they place the swimmers. $20 points is the total when you add up the classification numbers of the 4 athletes in every team. So it does make for a very exciting race with the mixed impairments and the mixed men and women. The only rules has to be 2 men, 2 women, and no more than 20 points. The rest is up to each nation to work out. Now this, the mixed 4x50 freestyle relay, 20 points, the second of the 2 heats. We have China, Brazil, Italy and Australia. And it's Australia with Rachel Watson challenging Brazil. Pereira dos Santos, the Brazilian, leading very close with Rachel Watson in lane 6. And the first of these 4x50-meter relay.
And bear in mind as well with these swimmers who swim in the heats don't necessarily need to swim in the final. They can change these swimmers as long as they don't exceed the 20 points. So somebody like Daniel Dias, a S5 swimmer, has the ability to even get into the pool for Brazil. So should they be challenged by another nation in the heats, you might expect to see a few changes being made for the final. But Brazil leading at the moment, and it's deafening inside the Olympic Aquatic Stadium, such as the joy and excitement of the home fans, who will no doubt expect a gold medal from Brazil in this event. It's Taliesin Glock currently in the pool for Brazil. Trimi of Italy alongside Kate Wilson of Australia is still holding on in lane 6. Australia battling with China for second currently.
Well, Brazil decided to put man, woman, and it's actually Australia who've used both of their women in the first 250 metres. So they have got 2 men now to bring home the second half of their relay, whereas Brazil have Susana Ribeiro leading the way. But look at Italy coming through, very strong.
Well, indeed. Valerio Taras is showing some real pace in the pool, and Brazil are being caught in the water here. But they do have a multiple Paralympic champion, Eduardo Silva, in the pool looking to hold on here, but it's going to be a tremendous finish because Emanuele Romano is very quick in the pool. The final 50 meters here and the battle is on. Romano is not going to be catching Silva. Silva will bring it home surely for Brazil.
Well, if the crowd support is anything to go by, Eduardo Silva has got enough energy here in the tank. He's going to bring us home for Brazil in heat number 2. Brazil win in a time of 2:33.94. A strong finish for Italy in second. China, a very strong final 50 to take third. Australia coming home just behind. Brazil dominated that. Eduardo da Silva handed over a lead that he just maintained on that final 50. Much to the crowd's delight here in the Olympic Aquatic Stadium. Well, that will guarantee them a central lane draw in the final. And no doubt the crowd will be out in force to support the Brazilian team.
Just thought for a moment the way the officials were milling about that they might be worried about a change over here. Now the Italian officials are out. It looks like Italians have been disqualified. So what we're seeing here is Italy's result not being ratified. It looks like they are going to be disqualified. I can tell you that Brazil have been confirmed as winners, 2:33.94, but People's Republic of China has been given second place overall. No, Italy have been reinstated, it seems. A 2:38.01. I mean, Valerio Taras's third leg was astonishingly quick, and the Italian officials have been, well, they're a little disconcerted and perplexed as to what's going on, but they were initially disqualified, it seemed, but a judge's verdict, a final verdict, means that they have been reinstated. They will claim their second place in this freestyle relay second heat.
Well, here we go, the teams through to the final. Ukraine just ahead of Brazil, so Brazil will go in lane 5. Italy, People's Republic of China, Greece, Australia and Israel all through into the final. It looks as though we might have a swim off here for the men's 50 freestyle S10.
Yeah, with Guy Harrison Murray of Australia going against David Levesque of Spain. So a swim off in the men's 50 freestyle S10 to see who advances to the final. With these swimmers having tied for 8 fastest times. The victor here will advance to the final. The loser will become first alternate should another swimmer drop out.
guard mark.
The 50 meters, such a close race. And the start is vital. And again, nothing dividing these two athletes at the halfway stage.
Well, Guy Harrison Murray of Australia, 19 years old, up against his vastly more experienced competitor, David Levesque of Spain at 32. Well, it was Harrison Murray who had the better start. Levesque, though, strong in the finish, but it looks like Harrison Murray is going to hold on. At the end, it is only by a shade Harrison Murray of Australia into the final. So Levesque will be first alternate, but how close they were again. And sportingly, Levesque congratulates Harrison Murray on his fine swim. Well, that was 12 hundredths of a second separating them in the swim-off. It's happened before, not often, where swimmers who have not been separated and with times have found themselves not being separated in swim-offs, but not too often.
I'm sure the swimmers were relieved. It was only over 50 meters, one extra sprint. Harrison Murray will now get to race again in the finals. There's very little dividing them on that start, and with a finish of just 12 hundredths separating these swimmers, it was very hard to call, but the Australian just making it through.
Well, it was an intriguing day in the pool. Third session overall, the heat session on day 2 of competition in 14 events. We started with world records back-to-back. And ultimately the times didn't get too fast, but their performances were impressive. And there's plenty of heats or finals to look forward to in session 4. Well, that is it for the third session of the swimming competition. Day 2 of competition heat session is concluded. We look forward to joining you for the final session, with 16 medal events will be contested.